Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Liz and today is going to be a story time. Quick preface, I'm filming this prior to filming my Get Ready With Me Halloween costume look. So if this is giving you any vibes or you have any guesses, put it down in the comments below. So today is going to be a story time about the two times we as my family ended up in a shelter. Okay, so the two times I was 10 and 12, and this was the same shelter in both scenarios. I don't remember specifically what led us being into the shelter, obviously besides being homeless, you know. And just to give you a little hint, I'm not going to give out the actual name of the shelter, but it rhymes with Roachman, and if you are familiar with that name, you probably know it's the one in White Plains. Now, it got that name because it was infested with roaches.
Hi, it's editing me. I just want to preface this by saying, obviously I'm not blaming the shelter for the roaches. It's primarily the people, as in family members living in the shelters, that is bringing these roaches when they're not cleaning up after themselves, and that is not always guaranteed with each and every family living in this shelter. So, and once you have them, they're incredibly difficult to get rid of them because they multiply so fast and sneaky little buggers. But just want to preface that by saying that. Allegedly,
actually no, really, because I lived through that. But for lawyer purposes, allegedly. So we ended up in the shelter because obviously we were homeless, and this was me and my siblings and my mom. Basically, it's just this big giant building with a bunch of rooms. I believe it's a family shelter, so you know, specifically for mom and children or mom and their kids scenarios. It's a giant building. I don't know how many floors. I believe there was like 5 floors, and we always played with the elevator, but the elevator always got stuck. And like, why did we continue to ride this elevator if it was notorious for like getting stuck? And I think I got stuck on it a couple times, and they both of the times were freaking terrifying. I just remember crying and like knocking on the doors like, let me out. I don't remember them being at like emergency button. There probably was, and we were dinging it, and like, you know, it obviously someone picked up like, yeah, we're stuck on this floor or whatever. After a while it got fixed, but yeah, we got stuck on it a couple times. It was pretty scary. But yeah, so I believe it had like 5 floors. It's very boring, like plain blue walls or what have you. So the area that we were living in ourselves, it was split into 2 rooms because there was obviously like 4 kids and a mom, and I believe there was a bunk bed, like a metal bunk bed in each room, and they were connected. So even if it would say it's like 4A and 4B, there would be 2 separate keys, but it was connected, so we could just like obviously go into the other room if we wanted to. I can't compare it to an apartment because it's very different. It's very small. I would say maybe 400 square feet, I'm not sure. But basically, so it had these 2 conjoined rooms, and there was like a bunk bed on each end, and my mom had her own single bed, and there was like a kitchen. They supplied us with a refrigerator. There was a shower. It was like just like a walk-in shower. That's the one I remember the most. So you had the conjoined apartment, right? But it was only one shower / bathroom for the whole apartment, for the 2 rooms that was conjoined, and 1 little kitchen, 1 little fridge, like 2 bunk beds. My mom had her own bed, and you know, between the 2 kids we used the bunk beds. And it was just, they don't supply you with nothing else than that. You have to buy your own food. The bathroom shower scenario, it was just like a toilet, a sink, and just you walk up into the shower. There's no tub, there's no separation. It's just the whole bathroom is just like metal tiles. There was like a little rod with a little plastic shower curtain to divide between the toilet, sink, and the actual shower, but it was just, you just walk right into it. There's not much of a separating area. Outside there was like a little playground or what have you, like a little swing set out front. The shelter was in White Plains, and we would still get bused back to Yonkers because that's where I grew up. I grew up in Yonkers. I don't know if you can tell by the accent when I say Yonkers, but we would still get bused back because that's where we did most of our schooling. Also within this shelter they had like the billiard room or like the playroom for like adults or like the young adults, where they had a pool table. They would have like movie nights I think every Friday was like a movie night, and it was basically like a little play area for the young adults. And obviously I was like at the time like 10 and like 12 years old, so like I wasn't allowed in. I think it was like 13 and up, and there was like a curfew, like you couldn't, like the little kids couldn't be there after a certain time, maybe like 9 or 10 p.m. or what have you. But yeah, that was pretty much the shelter experience itself. For the first time, I think we got placed in some type of Section 8 housing. And if you don't know what Section 8 housing is, it's basically my mom worked with the government to allow us to get apartments like a reduced price, or like paid pretty much from the government. Certain things, like specifically it could help with like homelessness or like a mother and children scenario, stuff like that. But honestly, if you're waiting for the government to like give you any aid, just don't. Honestly, if you have to, I'm not knocking your hustle, you know, do what you need to do, but like honestly, no. So I guess we were in that scenario, I don't know, maybe a short while until we got placed probably through Section 8 housing. Like I might be wrong with the ages. I feel like I was probably like 8 or younger, because between the ages of 9 and 12, we all lived in this place in Elliott. So I think I was younger. So this was probably like the shelter we got placed in before we were living on Elliott. Yeah, so then we moved to Yonkers and we lived in the place from the ages of 9 till 12. The entire apartment complex went up in flames. I will pop up a video because I already made a video on that. So if you want to know more about that, I'll add a card. So then our house went up in flames and back to the shelter we went. Because yeah, we didn't have any family members that could house us like that, or friends that could house us. Like, you know, there's like 5 kids and, you know, a mom. Like, so we went back to the shelter. This was definitely my middle school years. As far as me and my sisters and brothers, we were all still going to the Yonkers public schools. So we would get bused back from White Plains every morning down to Yonkers and then back after school. Yeah, so then after the house burnt down, my mom was on vacation during this whole time. So for like Hispanics, we call theirs aunts and uncles, but they're not really related to you by blood, but you call them, you know, titi and whatever, because they're like your mom's best friends. So those are our aunt and uncles. So when my mom went on vacation, our aunts and uncles watched us, and at the same time our house caught in flames. So while we were waiting for our mom to get back from the trip, I think American Red Cross came and stuff, like in that little corner or whatever, and then we waited for our dad to come meet up with us, and then we went back to the same shelter, Roachman and White Plains, and waited for our mom to get back. So yeah, we were there until basically we were able to get housed at another Section 8 housing. It kind of is what it is, you know? As far as feeling wise, I don't feel any indifference towards it.
Hey again, it's editing me. Although I don't feel any personal indifference towards the shelter itself, I do feel like it is an alternative source to being like completely homeless and on the streets with your 2 plus how many ever kids you have at that point in time, if you're a mother or a father seeking asylum. So in that retrospect, I do appreciate the ability to have an external source to try to help you find temporary asylum until you have a more permanent home with your children. As a parent, I do also want to preference that I'm only familiar, even barely familiar, with the system in the US. I have no idea how this works in other countries. I'm pretty sure some of the countries don't even have that as an option. I do want to acknowledge that certain shelters, I don't know specifically family shelters or just regular shelters, there is a giant waiting list and a lot of people needing those resources. So I don't even know in today's standards how many families are waiting to be homed in asylums like this.
I don't feel like it's a sad, depressing time in my life. Like honestly, you're like your kids. You don't really know what's going on. You don't your parents are just like, okay, we're gonna be here, but like, and then we're gonna be here. Like, honestly, we did bounce around a lot as kids, but I don't know, it didn't really bother me as much. Like, it wasn't like nothing traumatic. I mean, my house burning down, yes, obviously traumatic. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you watch this video all the way through, comment down a little house emoji. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, because YouTube makes me say this. And yeah, bye.